Alright guys, we're doing division. Okay? So we have two different strategies with division that we can use. One is place value. The other is the hangman strategy. Okay? So we're going to do place value first, and then I'll show you the hangman strategy. So let's say that I want to divide 1,726 by 3. Okay? Now you never divide horizontally. You always change it so that it looks like this. Okay? Now, first step is to look and see if your first digit in the farthest left place value is going to be able to work. 1 divided by 3. Can we do that? No. If I have 1 cupcake and I have 3 kids that want cupcakes, I'm going to have some issues. Because not all 3 kids are going to get 1 cupcake, especially if it's one of those small ones, and you can't really cut those. So 1 is not going to work, so we can either put a 0 or leave it blank and move on to our 2 digit. Putting this 0 here is going to help to make sure that your numbers for your quotient are in the right place. So we're now going to do 17 divided by 3. How many times can we do that? Now one of the ways that you can look at that is say, okay, so 3 times what is going to get me either to 17 or as close as possible to 17. So for us, that's going to be 5, because 3 times 5 is 15. If I do 6, that's 18, and that is higher than 17, which isn't going to work. So then I have to subtract. 17 minus 15, I have left over 2. So remember DMSB, divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Okay? So you have to use each of those steps in order. And then you start again. So once we bring down the 2, then we start dividing again. 22 divided by 3. So for us, that's going to be a 7, because 7 times 3 is 21. And that's as close as I can get to 22 without going over. I have 1 left over. That means I need to bring down my 6. 6 divided by 3 is 5, because 5 times 3 is 15. Which means I am going to have a remainder. You cannot leave this guy down here, because he's going to be very lonely in the dark all by himself, and he's going to be very mad at you for leaving him down here. So you have to bring him all the way back up with his friends and say that there is a remainder of 1, because he does count. Okay? Now, in order to check your division, you need to multiply. So we're going to take 575 and multiply that by 3. So 575 times 3. 5 times 3 is going to get us 15. So 5, carry my 1. 7 times 3 is 21. Plus 1 is 22. 5 times 3 again is 15. Plus 2 is 17. So I have 1,725. Is this the same as this? Oh wait, no, it's not. Huh, that's 1 off. The 1. I have to add this guy back in there. That's why you can't leave him down here. Okay, because you'll forget about it. You have to add the 1, because he is a remainder. He doesn't go into a group because there's not enough of him. So once you add him in, you have 1,726, which is the same as this, and so we are good to go. Our answer is 575 with a remainder of 1. Okay? So that is place value. Now let's take a look at the hangman strategy. Alright, so we are doing hangman strategy. I had to change the screen so that I could get as far down as possible. So remember that with hangman, you're going to be multiplying the 3 by multiples of 1,000, 100, 10, and 1. But you want to look and see if 5 would work, okay? So you're either going to do multiples of 1,000, multiples of 100, multiples of 10, or multiples of 1, starting with 5 to see if that would work. So, looking to see if 1,000 would work. 3 times 1,000 is 3,000, which is more than 1,000, so we cannot use 1,000, okay? So we have to go with multiples of 100. Now you can use 100 and just do 3 times 100, 3 times 100, 3 times 100, however many times that would work. But it's going to take you a little while if it's a larger number like this. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to multiply by a multiple of 100, either by 200, 300. If 500 works, great. If not, then you go lower. But I wouldn't recommend going above 500 unless you absolutely know that it would work. So for me, I want to take a look at the 17, okay, and the 3. Now, 500 for me would work, but what I want to do is I want to show you how to do it with 200, okay? So 200 times 3 is 600, so we're going to subtract 600 from 1,762. Okay, so you're going to be subtracting normally. So what I have here is 6, 2, 1, 1. Now, if this number is smaller than this number, I can do another 200. And since 600 is smaller than 1,000, I can definitely do another 200. So I'm going to subtract another 600. So I have 6, 2, and then I can't do 1 minus 6, so I'm going to look over here. I have 11 minus 6. There's no point to cross this off, put a 0, and then cross this off and make this 11, since this is already 11. So 11 minus 6 is 5. Now, is 600 less than 500? No. So I can't do another 200, so now I'm going to go down to 100. 100 times 3 is 300. I'm going to subtract 6 minus 0, 2 minus 0, and make that into a 0, more like a 0, and then 5 minus 3 is 2. So 300 is not less than 200, so I can't use any more hundreds, so the hundreds are done. Now I need to go to multiples of 10. Now, again, you can do times 10, times 10, times 10, however many times, but that's going to take a little while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply by 50. 50 times 3, 5 times 3 is 15. And then I have my 0. It's a much better looking 0. So I have 0. 2 minus 5 I can't do. So I'm going to cross that off, make it a 1. Cross that off, make it a 12. 12 minus 5 is 7. Alright, so I can't do 50 anymore. But I can do 20 because 2 times 3 is 6. So I can do multiply by 20 because that's 60. Subtract. I have 10 left over. And then, I can do 3 because 3 times 3 is 9, which is not more than 10. So I can multiply by 3. And when I do, I'm going to have to come over here and do 10 minus 9, which is going to be 1. Now, when you're doing it on a piece of paper, you'll go straight down, but I had to come over here so that I had enough room. So this 1 is a remainder, okay, because I cannot do 1 divided by 3. So now that I have all of these guys, I have to add them all up. Now make sure that your digits are all lined up. If they're not, rewrite them. But for me, they're still pretty well in line. So I have all of these zeros plus 3, so that's a 3. All these zeros plus 5 plus 2, which is 7. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So 573, and then not forgetting our remainder, so remainder 1. Okay? So same answer that we got before, we just got it in a different way. Okay? So now we're going to look at a word problem. Alright, so a factory has 2,125 DVD players to ship to electronics stores. They ship 4 DVD players in each box. How many full boxes can they ship? Now, we know this is division because it tells us that it has this many DVD players to ship. So it has the total, okay? So your total is 2,125, and you are dividing that by 4 DVD players in each box. You can either do this place value, or you can do it Hangman. Whichever way you want to do it, I want you to practice, come back, and I will go over the answer with you. Alright, so this is your answer. Okay, I did it with place value, but your answer should be 531 with a remainder of 1. Okay? So I did 21 divided by 4 because I couldn't do 2 divided by 4. 5 times 4 is 20, so that got me as close as I could to 21. 1 left over, brought down the 2. 12 divided by 4, I knew was 3 because 3 times 4 is 12. I brought down my 5, and I looked at it, I knew there was going to be a remainder because there's 1 difference between 4 and 5. So when I did that, I had my 1, subtracted the 4, and then I had my remainder of 1, which I brought up here. Now remember to double check your work. So if you didn't do that, this is what you should have done. You should have found the answer to 531 times 4, and then you needed to have added the remainder of 1. So 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 3 is 12, 2, carry my 1, 20 plus 1 is 21. Add the 1, 2,125. This is the same as this, so I know I'm good to go. Okay? But notice I didn't just write 2,125 and be, okay, I'm done. That's not checking your work. You have to actually go through each step and say, did I get the right answer? Okay? Very, very important. Now this one. Okay? Pause. Alright, sorry, I had to change this one as well. So, there are 1,042 students going on a field trip to Universal that will be in groups of 6. How many groups of students will there be? Now I'm going to give you a hint on this one. Okay? It's how many groups of students. Okay? So there may be something you need to look at when you're done dividing. Just saying. So I want you to go ahead and divide and then come back with the answer of how many groups of students there will be. You must have that down, not just do the division and you're done. I need you to say there will be blank number of groups. Okay? So go ahead and pause. When you're done, come on back. Alright, so this is what you should have got when you did your division, whether that's place value or whether that is the Hangman strategy. Now, notice I didn't write the number of groups because I want to talk to you first. Is the answer 173 groups? It's a good question. But Mrs. Thomas, there's a remainder. Okay. Well, what's going to happen with those 4 kids? Are they going to be left behind because they're not in a group of 6? No, they paid. They get to be in a group. They get to go to Universal. So that just means that their group is going to be a group of 4. So there are how many groups going on the field trip? There's going to be 174 groups. So sorry. There will be 174 groups because you can't leave those 4 groups or those 4 kids behind just because there's not enough for a group of 6. Okay? So just remember that as you're going through and reading your questions carefully. Okay? So here is the problem that you guys are going to do on your own. I'm not going to tell you the answer. You got to bring it in. Okay? So with the work that you've done, put this one on your paper. Bring it in so that I can see it. Again, just watching the video is not going to help you as much as if you do the work with me and you practice it. Okay? I need you to do the practicing too. So you're going to do this. Chase family's driving 4,735 miles. Okay, plan on driving for 5 days, traveling the same distance each day. How many miles will the Chase family drive each day? Okay, so because we know the total miles, that's how we know it's division. That's how we know we're dividing, because we have the total. We need to find out how many miles they drive each day for those 5 days. So go ahead and do this. Sorry for the mistake on this video. Go ahead and do it. Bring it in.